Welcome back to week 5 of our Rooted and Growing series. We trust this has been an enriching experience for you as we recapture the vision of our Christian faith and Methodist heritage and explore the both and nature of many aspects of our faith. Chapter 7 is the first chapter in part 4, Servanthood, the breadth of compassionate witness. The hallmark of Jesus' life was the way in which he cared for the needs of people around him and demonstrated compassionate love towards all. Nowhere is the urgency of this personal investment and human solidarity more emphasized than in Jesus' words, "Whatever you have done to the least of these, you have done unto me." Our calling, and really our duty as Christians, is to serve the present age using all our gifts, all our powers, to declare God's amazing love to all. The context of this ministry is to be lived every day, everywhere, and in every relationship, no exceptions. We're called to live not for ourselves, but for others, and like Christ, to give ourselves for the life of the world. The church in Wesley's time had exchanged its true vocation for maintenance. It had become distant from and irrelevant to the world it was called to serve. It desperately needed to reclaim its true identity as God's agent of love in the world. The Wesleys firmly believed that God was raising up Methodists for the task of resuscitating a missional church. I believe this is also our call for us. The vocation of every believer, therefore, as the church, is a summons to enter into a revolutionary path of self-sacrificial love for the world. To be the church from a Wesleyan point of view is to accept Jesus' invitation to participate in a new age of peace and justice based upon the reckless abandonment of power and self. Our witness at its most basic level is our withness, offering Christ through compassionate presence to others. So Reed, what stood out for you in this chapter?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you, Jim. So to me, Jim and I actually, I believe, picked the same quote, which is honestly kind of a beautiful thing because this chapter is so beautifully written. And so the quote that we both chose is on page 95 and says this: "What continues to give us vitality in the church is the centrifugal force that spins us out into the world with the fruit of the Spirit. As we share this fruit with others, they are enabled to taste and see that God is good. A church that is turned in on itself will surely die. But a church that is intentional about its primary mission, a church that is spun out in loving service into the world, rediscovers itself day by day. The church is constituted by a shared experience of the good news of Jesus Christ, around which community is built and out of which service extends. This is a Wesleyan definition of the church, and the Methodist people reclaimed this mission church model in their own time." What a beautiful passage. And to me, the part that really spoke to my spirit was the part that says, as we share this fruit with others, they are enabled to taste and see that God is good. A church that is turned in on itself will surely die. See, we have Christ in common. And when we have Christ in common, that is the centrifugal force that they are referring to in this passage that spins us out into the world. When we have Christ in common, when that is our primary mission, then the fruits of the Spirit naturally exude out from us in keeping Christ as our primary mission. And the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And so when we do turn in on each other as a church, that can also be a good thing when we are demonstrating the fruits of the Spirit to one another, especially in times where we are at points of contention.
That's a really good point. And I love it that we chose the same quote for this one. I honed in on one part of it. You just said it again. A church that is turned in on itself will surely die, but a church that is intentional about its primary mission, a church that is spun out in loving service into the world, rediscovers itself day by day. And I kind of first reflected on kind of a sad reality that we're kind of seeing in our culture, where so many congregations are kind of struggling, some dying, as fear and this self-sufficiency, sometimes a club-like mentality, infects them and almost creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. And so I'm aware of that, and I'm aware that the temptation towards that for us in our culture can be so subtle and invasive. But I'm also, like you shared, I'm just so thankful that as a congregation here at Hickson UMC, we're resisting that temptation as best we can. We're really trying to stay focused outside and care for others, care for those within our congregation, but also care outside these walls. And there just seems to be a real energy and drive for that. This mission we have of help, hope, and healing, if you don't know, yeah, we came up with that as a mission, a vision, but it really came out of what we were already doing several years back. And that was just so beautiful. And it seems to be who we are, and it drives us. It keeps us on course. So I think it's helping us to continue to experience this vibrancy as a congregation amidst challenges, and to see fruit growing from these deep roots that are sinking. So my prayer is that we can, like you said, stay focused in heart and in mind in this mission as the temptation of fear and division continue to challenge us as a culture and as a world.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jim.
Yeah.
Our hope for you guys today is that we will have fruitful discussion with one another in our small groups, and we just thank you so much for joining us today.